I'm Natasha Kirchuk, and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. Coming up in today's newscast, the IDF confirms some alarming reports from over the Lebanese border. For the first time ever, Israel is suing the family of a Palestinian terrorist, and we'll reveal why the rapper Jay-Z has caused an uproar in the Jewish world. Stay tuned for the latest news in Israel. The head of the IDF military intelligence is confirming reports that Iran has set up a weapons factory in Lebanon, and this puts Israel in a real dilemma. Over the last few days, Arab newspapers have been publishing reports about an Iranian weapons manufacturing plant in Lebanon. Well, Major General Herzl Halevi has just confirmed that it exists, and that's a problem. Israeli airstrikes on Iranian weapons convoys from Syria to Lebanon, as well as sea shipments, have been effective, but maybe too effective. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard has decided it's more efficient to just build weapons in Lebanon. The question now is if Israel will attack the weapons factory and risk a full-blown war with Hezbollah. Reportedly, they're hoping to solve the issue diplomatically, but considering that Hezbollah is in effective control of the Lebanese government, Lebanon is unlikely to budge. Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman says that Israel doesn't intend to go to war with Lebanon, but this weapons factory might change their calculations. All right, it's been just a day since IDF forces entered the Palestinian city of Jenin to remove a memorial to the terrorist Khalid Nazal, but activists from the DFLP terror group have already re-erected the monument.
Nazal, who was a member of the DFLP himself, planned the Ma'alot massacre in 1974 that killed 25 Israeli civilians, including 22 school children. The terror attack on the Israeli town in northern Israel was launched by DFLP terrorists from Lebanon. A monument was later constructed in honor of Nazal's role in the terror attack, and the IDF operation to take it down was unusual, since the structure has been constructed in Jenin, in Area A, which is under Palestinian security control, and IDF forces rarely operate there. Up to 6 Palestinians and 1 Israeli soldier were injured during clashes between soldiers and DFLP supporters on Friday as a monument was being removed by the IDF. The DFLP has posted pictures on Facebook of the restored monument, saying that Nazal will remain alive and immortal in the conscience of his people and his comrades. Israel has taken deep offense to the monument and square in Nazal's honor, saying it promotes terrorism and poisons the minds of young Palestinians.
For the first time ever, Israel has filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the family of a Palestinian terrorist for the damages caused to 4 soldiers who were killed in his attack. ILTV's Aaron Porce joins us with more information. Aaron?
Thank you, Natasha. Yes, you are right. The Israeli government is now taking a new initiative, a new process of disincentivizing terror attacks. And basically what it is lawsuits. They've named Fadi al-Kunbal, who was a terrorist who killed 4 soldiers in a truck ramming attack in early January, who was killed during that attack. The Israeli government is now suing his family, naming his wife and his children as defendants.
Just crazy. And I mean, this is a $2.3 million lawsuit. Yeah. So let's see how they're breaking this down.
That's right. The state wants Tahani Kanbar to pay around $600,000 in compensation for each soldier that her husband killed, including the cost of each soldier's headstone and the benefits due to their families. In addition, Kanbar's family house has been sealed off, and the state is seeking to strip 12 of his relatives of their residency status, which would open the door to expelling the family from Jerusalem to the West Bank. The Jerusalem District Prosecutor's Office says that the lawsuit is designed to send a clear message that the state will settle accounts on a civil level with the perpetrators of terrorism, apparently even if the terrorists are gone. Members of the Swedish and Swiss-funded Hamoked Center, however, are claiming that the Kanbar family is experiencing a revenge campaign.
The diplomatic crisis in the Gulf Arab states is escalating. Qatar has missed the deadline to reconcile to the demands of Saudi Arabia and end the blockade, and U.S. President Donald Trump appears to be giving his support to the Saudis. ILTV correspondent Max Keisler has more. Now, Max, what should Israel be doing in this situation?
That's a difficult question. Israel doesn't really have diplomatic or trade ties with any of the countries involved in this scuffle. And while they do have some shared interests with Saudi Arabia while it comes to Qatar, any perception that the Jewish state was really taking a side here could just create difficulties.
Now, what could it mean for Israel if there is a diplomatic break in the Gulf?
Well, we're already seeing Qatar and Turkey become much closer, and also some alignment between Iran and Turkey when it comes to the Kurdish question. It's like we're seeing the formation of a power bloc here, and honestly, one that's quite hostile to Israel. On the other hand, this could create opportunities with the Arab states in the same way the Iranian threat has. Let's take a closer look.
Since June 5th, Qatar's airspace and ports have been blockaded, and its only land border with Saudi Arabia has been sealed off. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Egypt and Bahrain have issued a list of demands for Qatar to restore relations with its neighbors. They expect the country to shut down Al Jazeera, scale down its ties with Iran, and stop supporting the Muslim Brotherhood and Hezbollah. The first deadline to respond passed yesterday, and Qatar is remaining bellicose, saying it doesn't fear military action. With hundreds of Turkish troops stationed in Qatar, they may well have powerful allies in the event of war.
There is no fear from whatever action it's been taken. Qatar is prepared to face whatever consequences it is. But as I have mentioned to you that there is an international law which should not be violated, and there is a border which should not be crossed. And these countries and Qatar is in a region which is considered a center of stability in a turbulence region. So there is, I think, enough wisdom in avoiding such an irresponsible action against Qatar or against any country.
U.S. President Donald Trump has spoken with the leaders of Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, and Qatar, and he's reiterating the importance of stopping terrorist financing and discrediting extremist ideology, according to a White House press release. For Israel, the further isolation of an Iranian ally and Hamas patron could advance its security position, but it's unlikely the Jewish state will get involved in this conflict. Qatar is expected to deliver a formal response to the Arab state's demands tomorrow.
It's been decades since bombs went off at a Jewish community center in Argentina, killing dozens. But a shocking percentage of Latin American Jews still think terror attacks on their communities are a very real possibility.
Operatives from the Lebanese terror group Hezbollah and their supporters in the tri-border area around Argentina, Brazil, and Paraguay have raised tens of millions of dollars through drug smuggling and production and money laundering. So it's no surprise that across Latin America, 65% of Jewish leaders fear their communities could suffer a terrorist attack. A survey for the Latin American Jewish Congress questioned over 300 Jewish leaders from 14 different Latin American countries. And interestingly, 82% of them said that they believe a two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is the best way to prevent future terrorist attacks in Latin America. A large number of Latin Americans are of Shiite Lebanese descent, and Hezbollah has found some support from this large demographic. But today, 71% of those surveyed said that it is possible to live openly as a Jew in their country.
Leakage from a fertilizer plant in southern Israel has caused severe environmental damage to the Judean desert, and inspectors are still trying to figure out just how bad the situation is.
On Friday, one of the walls of the Rotem Fertilizers factory collapsed and acid began flowing toward the Dead Sea through the area's riverbeds. The Nature and Parks Authority is working to get animals away from the infected area. Initial reports are suggesting that the toxic waste was 4 meters deep in some stream channels, higher than the water is during a flash flood. Hikers are strongly advised to avoid the Nahal Ashalim area in the eastern Negev by the southern Dead Sea. Considering that it'll be 109 degrees in the area today, that shouldn't be too difficult. Days after the spill, acid levels in the area are still problematically high, and foam and sludge is forming in the channels. The INPA is estimating that rehabilitating the area will take at least a few weeks.
It's summertime, which means it's vacation time, but planning that perfect vacation can be hard, especially when all of the available hotel rooms are booked or way out of your budget. Well, one Israeli company has found a way to help you save on the perfect hotel room. Joining me today in the studio is Eran Shus, the CEO and co-founder of Splitty. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So how does this app work? Tell us about it.
So Split is actually a booking platform that offers amazing hotel deals only available by combining several rate plans into a single itinerary. For example, if you need a 5-night stay in New York City, instead of having a single reservation for a 5-night stay, we're going to hook you up with 2 separate confirmation numbers. The one is going to be for the first 3 nights, and the second one is going to be for the other 2 nights. It's the same hotel that you wanted, it's the same room that you wished for, only having 2 confirmation numbers instead of 1. And only by that, we achieve savings of 20, 30, 40, or even 50% off than the average market
Interesting.
price.
So you're saying by splitting up the booking that you make, it ends up being cheaper.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
Yeah, right. It doesn't make sense,
Yes.
right? So as it turns out, hotels don't have 10 rate plans or 10 promotion types or coupons. They have thousands of promotions on any given time. So sometimes when you look for shorter periods of time,
Right.
for 2 nights or a single night, you can actually enjoy these promotions. So when you split it like we do, we can enjoy the maximum savings that you can get for the entire
So you could
stay.
essentially say that, let's say I want to go to New York and I want to book a hotel for 5 nights, like you were saying.
Yeah.
When I would do it through your app, you would automatically figure out the cheapest, combination to.
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay, that makes it unique compared to other booking sites for sure, which would have been my next question for you. But that stands out. So how did you come up with this idea?
Well, that's actually a funny story. So I needed to go for a 2-night stay again in New York City, and I went to Hilton.com, and then I saw that for a 2-night stay, the prices would be $250 per night. But then I tried to get a quote for a single night, and when I tried that, I saw that the price went down from $250 to $170, right? And again,
Right.
that makes no sense. So we checked it out on Hilton.com, on Expedia, Priceline, and we saw it happens again and again. So only when we reached out to the industry executives, like we have on our board, the CIO of Merit International and the former CEO of Travelocity, so they told us that it's actually a revenue management strategy that the hotels are implementing on the industry. And what we're doing, we're trying to
Interesting.
hack those rates.
Well, I mean, I know that when I've tried to book, because I travel a lot, and when I'm trying to book flights, sometimes I'll see cheaper options, and I want to be able to book both things simultaneously. But that's another problem that you run into when you're trying to do that. So your system essentially allows you to just put one credit card number in, and it will make the 2 separate bookings together.
Exactly. For the
Interesting.
traveler, that's a seamless experience.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So is this now available worldwide? The company was founded here in Israel, but
Yeah.
it's international, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so the company was founded here in Israel. We have an office here in Tel Aviv, but also in the States. You can download our app on Google Play or go to our website, www.splittytravel.com, and enjoy our prices.
Very interesting. All right. Well, what is next for the company?
So we're all about growth right now. So we're recruiting, a lot of marketing and sales. The company is booming in terms of sales and revenues. And hopefully you can see us in San Francisco very soon.
Hopefully. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Aaron Schust.
Thank you.
Okay. It sounds like unicycles aren't just for clowns anymore. Some engineering students at the Technion University in Haifa have a new invention that could save injured hikers and cyclists, and you won't believe what it looks like. That's right, 2 students have developed the Adventure Stretcher, a 30-pound foldable stretcher that can transport a patient over rough and bumpy surfaces by balancing their weight on a single big wheel. The narrow 60-millimeter dimensions of the stretcher help it navigate through dense brush and narrow passes for people who have accidents on Israel's many nature trails. Its special puncture-proof wheel keeps it operational as it passes over sharp rocks, and soon the stretcher might be made out of magnesium, which is a sturdy material that could cut down the weight of the device while retaining structural functionality. So don't be surprised if the next time you're hiking, you end up seeing a careless tourist getting wheeled out on a unicycle. All right, everyone has that one friend who quits their day job to follow their one true passion. Well, joining me today in the studio is artist Asaf Basson, who did just that and has spent the last 3 years dedicating himself solely to his art. His next solo exhibit is called Heavy Tenderness, and it can be seen in Tel Aviv. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, Natasha. Nice to meet you.
Hello. So, what made you quit your job and decide to pursue art?
I was a teacher for cinema and TV and psychology and the psychology of the Zen. And one day I thought that after 15 years it would be enough for me to teach. And I started just to jump on my canvas in my home. I took the credit card in my hand and just put it on.
Wow, the credit card in your hand. Now let's back that up to the credit card topic. So how would your credit cards be used for your art?
I think it was the thing which is very common in every house and every pocket.
Right.
And it was just, I think, by coincidence, I just have something to paint.
So you would use your credit cards to paint instead of a paintbrush. Okay, interesting. So tell us how that works. First of all, can you show us some of these credit cards, because they probably don't look like your typical credit card anymore, right?
Okay.
Let's see.
This is my wallet and
your paintbrushes of sorts. Wow, look at this. So this is completely just covered in paint because you're using this to create this incredible artwork which we're seeing behind us. Now, I mean, what are the themes typically of your artwork? And I'm wondering if this is, kind of like any type of statement about capitalism or anything like that.
I think it's some kind of statement, not against, but just to open the eyes of the audience or the people to just put themselves in the inner self and see what are they, because our identity is not in a plastic card.
Right.
And the plastic card, which belong to the corporations and the banks, are not us. Maybe they help us in this material world, but don't forget what you are, your true self.
Right. Well, I'm assuming that you're not spending any money on these cards anymore. They're just made for the work of art, the pure artistic motive. So what is the theme of your upcoming exhibit, which, like we said before, it's titled Heavy Tenderness?
Okay, you can come to this exhibit and you see faces which are they are maybe feels like characters from the spiritual world.
Interesting.
And
well, I mean, it almost seems when you look at the drawings of the paintings that we just saw, now they're not up, but as if you're kind of showing what's under the skin, right? So maybe talking about, this inner identity that we don't see, that's often covered up by kind of the material, right? And that's something that you were talking about with how you use your credit cards. Yeah, here it almost looks as you're getting kind of the inner human. Yeah. Interesting. So, what has been kind of one of the main impacts on the work that you're doing? You said you previously worked in television, right? So.
Yeah, I worked in television a lot of years, and I made TV shows, and I made documentary movies, which is called A Voice Without a Face.
Yeah.
It was a film about my father, who was a Mossad agent, and both. He was a Mossad agent and a classical Arabic musician.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so I guess kind of going back to that idea of everybody having these multiple faces and these multiple identities within them, right?
Yeah, I think my special muse is my daughter, Zoe. Yeah. And she maybe
influences what you're doing a lot.
She took the tenderness into the heavy paint.
Interesting. Beautiful. Well, again, good luck on everything, and thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, and good evening.
American rapper Jay-Z was famous in the early 2000s for hits like '03, Bonnie and Clyde, and Izzo, but now he's making headlines for lyrics that many are saying cross the line into anti-Semitism. ILTV's Aaron Porras joins us with the scoop, or is back for the scoop. Aaron?
So the new Jay-Z album, 444, came out this past Friday, and lyrics to certain songs, specifically the story of OJ, are more controversial, to say the least. He raps about fiscal responsibility by allegedly taking a jab at the Jewish community. He raps, quote, "You want to know what's more important than throwing away money at a strip club? Credit. You ever wonder why the Jewish people own all the property in America? This is how they did it." End quote. So, there are a lot of things that there are a lot of different ways to interpret that.
It's created a bit of an uproar,
Right.
I would say.
I think, a lot of people are taking this in a lot of different ways.
Right, and it's interesting because it's bringing up that discussion of what crosses the line, what is anti-Semitism, what is not.
Exactly, but I'll tell you how people are reacting in their
let's check it out.
Critics say the lyrics traffic stereotypes about a Jewish cabal of sorts, pointing to the fact that a common anti-Semitic trope is that Jews own and control the world. While the line can be read this way, many others are actually saying that the line in the lyrics are a compliment towards Jewish financial acumen. In fact, a common point of discussion for building wealth in the black community recently has been to follow the supposed Jewish and Chinese model, aka spending money within the community for as long as possible. An unverified but often cited figure states that money in the Chinese American and Jewish American communities circulates for up to a month, as opposed to less than half a day in the African American community. In 2006, Jay-Z and Russell Simmons even recorded a public service announcement against racism of any kind, with a special mention that anti-Semitism and racism are one and the same. Those chanting anti-Semitism at the new album, however, aren't buying it, accusing the famous rap star and business mogul of making borderline anti-Semitic references in the past as well, in songs such as 2007's No Hook.
The night has finally arrived. Everybody's favorite pop star Britney Spears is here in Israel, and she's set to perform in Tel Aviv. ILTV's Emmanuel Kadosh joins us with the details. Hi, Emmanuel.
Hi. Yes, so Britney actually arrived to Israel on Sunday, and instead of doing her typical, going to Tel Aviv and experiencing the city that never sleeps, she actually chose to go to one of the holy sites. She went to the Western Wall and the Western Wall tunnels, where she got mobbed by fans. It was
no surprise.
Crazy.
There are a lot of people who are crazy about her.
Yes, which made her miss her planned dinner with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and cancer patients that were going to join. But more details in my report.
Let's check it out.
According to the Israeli Ynet news site, Spears was surrounded by multiple security staff who tried to keep the fans and paparazzi distanced during her visit to the Western Wall and tunnels. Even though she canceled her dinner with the Israeli Prime Minister, it apparently wasn't that big of a deal because a senior official in the Prime Minister's office reportedly said that the dinner was never officially confirmed. The meal still went on between the Israeli leader and the cancer patients without her appearance. Spears is set to perform today at Tel Aviv's Hayalchon Park as part of her Britney Live in Concert World Tour, and a stunning 50,000 people are expected to attend. Local music producers have reportedly been working on getting Spears to perform in Israel since last year, and the performance is apparently set to cost $2 million. In efforts to avoid crazy traffic jams before and after the concert, local fans can hail down the Britney Bus, which has been organized by the Fan Zone company. The private coach bus is set to pick up and drop off passengers to and from the concert all across the country. Now, those are some smart and eager fans.
Enroll in eTeacher's online Hebrew courses and quickly discover that it creates the deepest connection to Israel that you could ever imagine.
And now for our Hebrew word of the day. Speaking of all of the crazy fans that are going to be swarming Tel Aviv to see Britney Spears perform, today's word is leoded, or to cheer. Emmanuel, you're always over-enthusiastic about everything, some would say. So what do you have to say about our word leoded?
Well, speaking of Britney, now that she's here, there's nothing more exciting than to leoded at one of your favorite concerts in the front row. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see her.
Now, guys, to make it easier for us to practice using the word leoded, just so you know, leoded means to cheer with the two, but we're going to say to leoded, so it makes sense in English, but that's just for all of you guys who are actually learning Hebrew with us today. So, Emmanuel, are you planning to leoded for Britney now that she's here?
Honestly, I don't have a ticket yet, and it's tonight, so hopefully I will be able to go there. If not, I'm sure I'll be hearing it from wherever the concert is actually playing.
Absolutely. So this is kind of embarrassing, but I went to leoded just Justin Bieber in May.
Embarrassing.
Some say it's embarrassing, but I enjoyed the performance, but I did almost go deaf because there were like 80,000 teenage girls just screaming.
Meodedim.
Yeah, exactly. Meodedim.
Right.
Celebrating
Exactly.
together.
And there's also, there's more than just concerts that you can leoded at. You know, you can go leoded at a sports event or be excited for, you know, a good score on a test.
Absolutely. So, but the most important thing to remember, I think, is just to leoded all of the small things in life, because life is ultimately a celebration, right?
Definitely.
All right, well, on that note, let's take a look at the weather, because it's hot, which means we should be going to the beach. Tonight, the sky should be clear to partly cloudy with a low of 76 or 24 degrees Celsius, which is amazing. Then tomorrow, you can expect a significant rise in temperatures, leading to a potential heat wave with a high of 92 or 33 degrees Celsius. All right, that's it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.49 shekels to the American dollar. Remember to sign up for our daily newsletter at iltv.tv. I'm Natasha Kirchuk, and thanks for watching.